The Women's Challenge provides tools for today's women to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. Now, recently, they have shifted their focus to helping minority children learn more about STEAM, formerly STEM. Join us in the next 30 minutes as we meet some of the key players involved in the Women's Challenge as they tell us how they use this organization to bring women together. I'm Christy Breslin, and this is Harford MagaScene. I have the pleasure of being joined by Lorraine Bailey Carter. She is the founder of the Women's Challenge, and she is here to tell us all about this amazing organization and everything that they're doing to give back to our community. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi.
Now, Lorraine, what is the Women's Challenge?
So the Women's Challenge is, of course, a nonprofit organization for women. We wanted to make sure that we built something to help women, to empower women, to strengthen them. We need different, every woman is different. Every woman needs something different, and we wanted to make sure that we had vehicles to help each woman as best we could.
Well, that makes perfect sense, and we need that today, especially with what we're going through in today's times.
Absolutely.
So tell me, when and why did you decide to start this organization? Was it because you felt that women weren't as supportive of one another as they should be?
I always say that God gave me this vision, and maybe that's the reason that I can't walk away from it. I get tired, but He gave me a vision to help other women, to strengthen women, to encourage women, to support women. And with that vision, it just allowed me, and sometimes I expound on it just a little. There were 9 sorority sisters of Delta Sigma Theta sorority and 2 non-Greek women, and we came together and we created this organization. We wanted to make sure that we could give women an outlet if you were ill, because let me back up just a minute. Women, we more so are caregivers, we are nurturers, and a lot of times we give to the husband, the in-laws, the job, but when do we give to us? We never do that, because we're so inundated, the children. We're so inundated with all of those other little pieces that we do. We make sure that everybody else has everything their needs, but where are we? We're always the last to get taken care of. So we created this organization to give women an opportunity to come and relax, unwind, have a good time, because when you go home, all of that cycle is gonna start up again.
Oh, absolutely, that couldn't be more true. Now, you said you get together, you have a good time, you relax. Elaborate a little bit more on that.
So get together. We do, everything we do, we call it celebrations. So we have a celebration of life, which is a celebration honoring women with major medical conditions. That's our celebration of life. We wanna help them know that they are still happy, or should be, that they're still loved and wanted, they're still cherished and needed. So we do things to help them feel beautiful again, because life is seemingly leaving them because they have major medical conditions. And some in the organization we've had 2 campaigns of honoring women with major medical conditions. We've honored them, and we've lost several women that started with us. They've already succumbed to whatever their disease was, and we've had most were breast cancer survivors, and we've lost them. So there you have that celebration of life. Then you have the celebration of love, which is synonymous. We join that with Valentine's Day or around Valentine's Day. Then we have music heals, because a lot of times, I'll use my mother-in-law for instance. She was one of our first honorees, and she's gone now. She had breast cancer, which metastasized to brain cancer. But she fought long and hard, and she did that through music. You go to her house, she might not have had any hair, any nails, any eyelashes, but she still had a fire inside of her. And you walk to the door, the music would be blaring. She'd have her gospel on, and she'd be hopping around the house. Now, mind you, her cancer metastasized to her back. And her doctor said, "You're never gonna walk again." She still did the electric slide, and she slid all across the house. It never took her out. Only when it metastasized to her brain, that's when you saw the decline. And she then even said, "What's wrong with y'all? There ain't nothing wrong with me. Y'all think I'm going somewhere? I ain't going. And we're looking at her like, "Okay, Lizzie," her name was Elizabeth. We lovingly called her Lizzie. She fought to the bitter end, but you could not turn her music off. So, because we as a people, we believe music heals. It's that one thing. I don't care what your beast is. Your beast could be, you could be sexually assaulted. You could be breast cancer, cervical cancer, vaginal, sickle cell. Those are your beasts. But you turn on some music, you can take one song. You can up the tempo, you can slow it down, you can make it country, R&B, it doesn't matter. The words, because everyone likes a different, type of music, genre of music. So the words are what get us through. We had an event once, again, through Music Heals, and it was about HIV. And there is an African-American woman here in the state of Maryland. She's a grandmother. She was 80 years old, sitting on the floor Indian style. I had no idea she was 80 years old, number one. I couldn't sit Indian style. And she was the oldest woman in Maryland who had been infected with HIV. Recent, in her adult life, in her grandmother life, her husband passed, and she rekindled a relationship with a high school sweetheart who was fully infected, and she had no idea. So we always encompass everything with music. We took music, we had an interview down at Hotel RL. We had a young lady who was in management from the state of Maryland who ran the HIV program as an advocate. She came out and spoke. We had another young lady who contracted AIDS going through the birth canal. And so these are women that ended up with HIV, and they did not get into this because of promiscuous living, drug use, anything like that. This, it was their beast. So we use music to always circumference to help them just go through their daily life, but music is what helps them to heal. It's what helps them to cope.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
Their coping mechanism.
Now, I know it's called the Women's Challenge, but what about men? Are men still allowed to be involved?
We have board members who are now men. We've never had men who we honored because of their medical condition. Mm-hmm. But most of the medical conditions are predominantly women medical conditions. And then they do open up, because of course we do have some men that have breast cancer, but we have not honored any that have breast cancer.
Lorraine, you've mentioned honoring women. What do you mean by that? How do you honor them?
So what we do is we'll have an honoree, someone that we've spoken to and say, we like what you're doing in the community. And the women we honor, these are women who have gone through some type of trauma, and usually medical. And they're doing big things. They're out in the trenches trying to help other women just like themselves. They're trying to help them maneuver and manipulate through the process of having whatever that disease is, or whatever that I call beast or trauma. It could be sexual assault. These are women who are wanting to help other women who have gone through where they've gone through. Because it's not the same for every woman. So you need someone like, what I want to call it? Let's say a big sister, meaning I've already gone before you. So I know a little bit about where you're going. I can tell you what medicines may be better for you, what worked for me. I can tell you this may be a group that may be a support group for you to help you, because when you go through different type of diseases, specifically breast cancer, there might be other companies or organizations that are specific to wigs, because a lot of women lose their hair and they don't want to. In today's world, of course, we love bald now, but it wasn't always like that. You have other companies or organizations that can give you inroads to prosthesis and things of that nature. So then what we do is we take the women who have gone through these diseases, we take their color of their disease, and what we do is we wrap them in a silk or satin of that, because that's their color. Right. So that's their awareness color. We give them a beautiful makeover. We give them a boudoir photo shoot, because a lot of women, once you're going through that, you think that you've lost all of your beauty. Right. Because a lot of us tie beauty to eyelashes, hair, eyes, hands, and we don't want to see splotches and things of that nature. So we think that people look at us on the outside. A lot of times we forget that beauty is really on the inside.
Oh, very, very
right?
True.
Beauty is truly on the inside, but the world looks at all of those negative pieces that I pointed out, and they'll go, oh my God, she's really been through. They don't know what you've been through. So I have women who have gone through and are willing and ready to help others, to help them manipulate that task, because oftentimes women are depressed, because their mate might leave them, because maybe they're missing a boob, or, things of that nature. So you want someone else to say, hey, sister, listen, don't let that man define you. You're on the inside. That's where your beauty is. We've gone through photo shoots and makeup sessions, and the women just cry, because once the cosmetologist puts a mirror in front of their face, they're like, oh my God, I haven't look like this in so long.
Right.
I forgot what it was like to look like this.
Now, another initiative that you're working on is STEAM, and your goal is to get more minority children involved. So talk about the importance of this initiative.
So STEAM is the offshoot from STEM. Many people know what STEM is: science, technology, engineering, and math. So now, in today's world, they've evolved. It's now involved to, and it's now called STEAM, S-T-E-A-M, science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So what we are after this year, it is our mission to provide programs for the youth so that they can touch and feel art. Art is right now in many different forms. Our youth today are very artistic, but they don't have the outlets that they need to show their artistic talents. So we want to provide programs for them to be able to, and I'll give you an example, jewelry making. And we want to do unconventional types of arts for the children. So we want to do jewelry making. We want to do DJing. We want to do programs like that you don't think about when you hear about art. And think about this: to be a DJ, you have to know how to count. So we want to help the children evolve in areas that they don't think is educational. They think it's fun. But if you don't know how to count, you cannot be a DJ, because you have to be able to count the measures that make the bar, so you know when to, scratch and spin.
Got it.
So we're thinking outside of the box, because some children, you'll never be able to get them to want to do math. But if they see now, I have to count to be able to be a DJ, and I really want to be a DJ. So we want to tie in the science, the technology, all of that into even learning how to be a DJ.
Lorraine, thank you so much. I can't even tell you how great it is to see women supporting women.
Thank you, Christy. We appreciate the opportunity to be here and to share where we've been, what we're doing currently, and where we're going. Thank you again.
Of course, and we're just getting started, because coming up next, we're going to speak to Vice President Larry White, and he is going to tell us all about the initiatives that we have moving forward. So stay with us.
Maryland residents and visitors now have the option to text 911 if they are unable to place a phone call.
To send a text, enter 911 in the to line.
In your message, include the location of your emergency and the type of help needed. Si el servicio de enviar mensajes de texto al 911 no está disponible o no es ofrecido en su área, usted recibirá un mensaje diciéndole que contacte al 911 por teléfono o por TTY.
911. Call if you can, text if you can't.
Larry White is the vice president of the Women's Challenge. He is so passionate about this organization. He is here to tell us about how he got involved, why he stays involved, and what they're doing to support our community. Larry, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Larry, you're a very big part of the Women's Challenge. How did you get involved, and why did you get involved?
Well, it's almost like a natural progression here. Being born of a woman, being a husband, being a father of a beautiful daughter, I actually felt as though that a woman in need was also a woman with intense nurturing skills. So if we can look at it like that, it's a win-win situation.
Absolutely. Now, I did ask Lorraine, it is the Women's Challenge, but men are involved. So what is it like to be involved from your vantage point as a man?
One of the best things is that you can actually see yourself making a difference. Lorraine is very passionate in terms of what you want the effect to be with working with the women. So all I'm doing is just lending whatever leadership skills that God has given me, my innate skills to take instruction and move to a different area. Whatever we need to do, I'm there for the mission.
Now, Larry, you have, as you mentioned, a very big event coming up right here in Harford County, the Wine Festival. Can you give our residents some details on that?
And that's going to be on May 22nd at the Harford County Equestrian Center, and it's going to be an exciting event. We're very excited that we're going to have a wonderful crowd, music again. It's going to be a celebration, and one of the things that we are telling people, make sure you get your tickets early. You can go to our website at www.womenschallenge.net and pick up your tickets. You don't want to miss this event.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be fantastic. Now, let me ask you this. The money that is raised for the events, what specifically do those dollars go towards?
Those dollars that are raised basically go towards the initiatives that we have. And this year, as you know, we're dealing with STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. And it's very exciting seeing how the money can benefit those initiatives that we do for young ladies. And it makes them and it gives them ownership of what they're doing, especially when we go into the schools or when we have things that we go into their homes. We're able to provide resources that are basically necessary and go along with what our mission statement is.
Larry, specifically, what would you like our residents to know about the Women's Challenge and why it would be important to be involved?
Well, I would love for them to know that there's a resource out here that is basically caring for them. One of the things I always say in my work world is I'm a safety manager for a company, and I always end every meeting with, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. See, it's one thing to know that we're here for you, but it's another thing to know that we care enough that you can utilize us as a resource.
Now, Larry, you are a very passionate group of people. You really put your heart and soul into what you're doing. So talk about that a little bit and the people that you work with on the Women's Challenge.
Over the years, I've watched Lorraine actually come up with ideas for events, and basically I've been amazed at the event, how she's approached it with passion. And one of the things about her passion is I always like to always say that when a should becomes a must, ordinary people can do extraordinary things. And when you see Lorraine actually come up with an idea, let's hold this, let's do this, it actually almost grows to the point where it takes it and has a life of its own. So the passion that she approaches these honorees with, the events with, is just unmatched.
Larry, thank you so much. And I got to tell you, they are so lucky to have somebody like you involved because your passion, your enthusiasm, it really comes through. So hopefully our Harford County viewers get a glimpse of what it would be like to be involved in this wonderful organization.
Well, I thank you for having me.
Well, coming up next, we're going to hear firsthand from a woman that has been involved and what the Women's Challenge has done to help her move forward. Stay with us.
Create your memories in beautiful Harford County, Maryland. Bring the family for a hike at Rock State Park. Have a picnic and hear live music at the world-famous Ladue Topiary Gardens. Or take a run on the Ma and Pa Trail. Hi, I'm County Executive Barry Glassman, inviting you to visit Harford.
I am lucky enough to be joined by Barbara Palmer. She is a breast cancer survivor. She is part of the Women's Challenge, and she is here to give us a first-hand account of what it's like to be involved with the Women's Challenge and what it has done for her. Barbara, thanks so much for being here.
And thank you for having me, and I would like to thank Miss Lorraine as well.
Now, Barbara, I know you've been involved with the Women's Challenge for a while. Why did you feel it was a good fit for you?
Well, I actually met Lorraine probably in the middle of 2011 at the Gordon Center. Lorraine was attending an event. I was a vendor there. She came over to my table. She purchased something, and she told me she had a nonprofit organization who gave events, and she wanted to know if I would consider being one of her vendors. Well, I never vended for her, but I did everything else for her. But that's how we met.
Well, you're a breast cancer survivor, and you have such a positive outlook on things, and I have to talk about this. I love the necklace, and we need to talk about the shoes.
Actually, I found these shoes on Facebook probably about 4 years ago. I can't remember what vendor, and I always participate in the walks. So, when you're a breast cancer survivor and you're doing a cancer walk, you got to be out there representing.
Well, you certainly are. So tell me about all these walks that you do, because Lorraine tells me you're a walker.
Well, you actually was a runner. I became a runner at the age of 57.
Oh, wow.
Back in 2014, and I traveled the country, went to Jamaica, went to Canada, and then I made the decision that I wanted to retire. So I needed to stop wasting my money on these runs and the hotels and the fees for the running. So I retired from running, but I do love to walk.
Barbara, you've had a very impactful story, a very emotionally trying time, because you've been diagnosed with breast cancer not once but twice. Can you talk about that?
I'm actually a 2-time 19-year breast cancer survivor.
Wow.
My first battle was back in 2003, and my second battle was in 2011. I never looked at it as a death sentence, because I thank God for giving me the cancer, because it helped me see what my purpose was. We all go through challenges. We don't always understand what they're for, but they're to help other people get through their challenges. So right away, I knew that God was going to use me to help other women through their breast cancer journey.
Now, from what you've told me, the Women's Challenge has been a very positive experience for you. How has it helped you heal?
I started volunteering at some of Lorraine's events. And what I love about Lorraine is she is so passionate, and she loves to help people. She loves to serve, and so do I. So by being involved in her organization, I was able to serve as well. I was able to meet a lot of people that were maybe not having a good day, feeling bad about whatever they were going through, and I love to encourage and inspire people and make them laugh. So by being involved in her organization, I was able to do what I love to do, which is serve people and meet people.
Now, Barbara, let me ask you this. Somebody that's just got a diagnosis, it's a tough diagnosis to get. What do you do? What are the first steps that you do?
Well, the first thing you have to remember as a mentor, when somebody contacts you and tell you they got that diagnosis, it's not about you. It is not about you. It's all about that person. And it's not my responsibility to tell that person my story. They don't care. They don't want to hear that. I don't even tell them my story unless they ask me about it. You need to listen to see what they're feeling, because chances are they're still trying to realize that they have been diagnosed with this disease. It's such a shocker when you get it. You think, it can't be me. It can't be happening to me. So you have to have an open ear, be attentive, listen to them, but you also have to let them know that cancer is not a death sentence. Your mind is a powerful thing, And even if the doctor doesn't give you a good diagnosis, that's not always true. You have to believe, I want to be here, honey. So I done fought that thing for 19 years, and the last time I had it, it was recommended that I get some treatments that I didn't want because I said I want to have a quality of life, I want to impact people, and I'm going to do that without feeling so sick and sluggish. It wasn't for me.
Now we have to bring this up. You were honored twice by Lorraine. Tell us about this wonderful honor that she has given you and what it means to you.
Oh my God, let me just say, Lorraine spares no expense when it comes to empowering women and making them feel special. The first time she honored me was back in 2012. And what sticks out to me that year is the fact that she actually gave each of us a certificate signed by Barbara Mikulski. I was too through. Yes, we got that. In 2013, she just outdid herself, honey. She just did everything. All of the women had makeovers done. We had photo shoots done. We even got a chance to go over to Silburn to share our stories individually, and it was professionally videotaped. And she gave all of us roses, but I do want to show you this little plaque that we got that year. And do you mind if I read it?
Not at all, please do.
Okay, it says, "You are special, you are beautiful, you are gorgeous, you are fierce, you are determined, you are encouraging. Barbara Palmer, you are a 2013 Women's Challenge Inc. honoree, yay!"
And it couldn't be more accurate.
Well, thank you.
Barbara, thank you. You're such an inspiration, and you are encouraging women to come out, to share their stories, to get involved with this organization, and that there can be happiness and that there is hope. So thank you so much for sharing all that with us.
And thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. It's been fun.
Oh, absolutely. So as you have seen today, the Women's Challenge has done so much for so many women and men in our community. These group of people are passionate people, and they want to help the residents of Harford County. So if you would like more information on all the good work that they do, or attend one of the many events that they have in Harford County and beyond, you can always visit their website for more information. I'm Christy Breslin. See you next month on Harford MagaScene.